Hi, my friends. How are you today? I'm here to talk about the relationship or relational detachments. I think this is a very good subject, and I hope this message reaches you and touches your heart. And remember, it's always with very good intentions. And I'll leave the original video, in Portuguese. And this video was made by a very, very nice person. He's enlightened, and he's called Anibal Nogueira. He's a Portuguese, and he starts talking about this subject. So I think people who don't speak English should also learn about it. So I translate it for you, and we can reflect upon it together, okay? So let's start. I translate the text, so I'm going to read it for you the best way I can, okay? Let's think that our relationships stem from many experiences lived through many reincarnations. Starting from this point, okay? In which we had a lot of experiences, haven't we? Now, the people who are in our family, for example, we have met all these people in many past lives, and they are somehow our greatest challenge. A global challenge for others, because we are each other's tools for discovering what our blocks are and for understanding what we have to do, and therefore understand why the other is in my life and why am I in the life of the other. And there is always a reason. And that is why we have to consider that relational attachments therefore create the family and organizational structures that are maintained by this law of action and reaction. So many times we know that our parents were in our lives or other lives, our children, our boyfriends, wives have also been in other lives. So we realize that we get back together. So if we get back together, for what purpose that would be? Why do we meet again? So we come back together because the vast majority of relationships are generated and maintained by the need for energy compensation that creates relational entrapments. Due to the need to resolve pending situations, most of them resulting from a lack of understanding of who we are, and the reality of the loss of our original memory. Then we had certain behaviors in past lives with a group of people, and here in this life now we have come to resolve, to compensate in some way for what has been done. It doesn't mean we've always done things poorly. We may have done things that were quite positive, very important for the development of the other, and the other also for our own development. And we want to repeat this model again to perfect and further improve our production process. But many of the relationships are effectively tied to resolving something that was pending. And that was pending due to the vicissitudes of that existence, due to what was the vision at that moment in which we exist, the way of thinking, our level of evolution that at that time built a certain reality and that today we need to change that reality. And then these people come into our lives again for us to look at them and try to understand what is here to solve, and that is why we see families where there is great animosity between parents and children, disagreements between siblings. So when we look to try to understand what is there and see energies that remain, envy, feelings of inferiority, feelings of guilt, a whole set of emotions that sometimes cannot be explained through this physical life present, this current life. And for this reason, we have to look at past lives, an element that as an element that provides some data for this understanding. It is not that it is mandatory, but sometimes it helps to understand what happened in the past life to understand this present. Of course, there is not always this possibility to revisit these past lives, because in the Professor Anibal's opinion, past lives are shown to us according to the needs of our evolution, of what is for our greater good and not property for satisfying our curiosity about what we were or what we did. Because we have been and done a lot of things in which we would be proud of today, other things probably not so proud. But all of this was part of our learning process. So this feeling of incompleteness that we feel while we are in a relationship with others, and deep down the will that keep us in this process of disembodiment and reincarnation, we came here to evolve, to elevate our consciousness. So what that can only happen when we can relate to everyone in a high attitude, on a high frequency. And that is why it is necessary to learn what is compassion, forgiveness, what is acceptance, what is understanding. If this situation does not occur, naturally it will be very difficult, because we will always become the victim in what we feel guilty about something. We will be developing emotions in us that we do not know how to explain. So it is part of this growth process to understand that we are beings that have here a set of development of perceptions, thoughts, and actions that today in some way constitute what we are now. So in this process, in addition to understanding, we always have to think about what is detachment. And detachment is perhaps the most important aspect in relationships, since relationships are tools, and these tools can and should be temporal, limited in time for us to learn to be free. And then detachment is the moment of integration in which we distinguish service for individual growth, and we naturally disassociate from the responsibility of having to save the other, not abdicating, however, of being at service of the other's light, but for the greater good and not for us or for the other. So this point is very important here, detachment. And he means here, for example, the relationship of a father or mother with a child. Often to this attachment relationship, what the mother has to do for her child, what the mother has to compensate for the child, detachment is precisely realizing that we are here, and therefore the mother is here for her individual growth, and she has to learn to disassociate this idea of having to save the other, abdicating herself, abdicating her growth process. So she has to find the balance that is Me as a mother, as I assume my responsibility to help this being, but not to jeopardize my own development. I will allow that being to make its way, even at times that I can consider to be harmful to it. This, in my perspective as a mother, because in reality we do not know to what extent that experience that we feel will be an unpleasant experience. An experience that hurts us can be important for that being, for the development and growth of that being. Then we have to learn to observe and let go of our relationships, which means being available to help, to be present and to help, but to realize that the other always has the decision of choosing the path they want. Look at relationships, look at the people around you, your partners, grandparents, brothers, uncles, aunts, and see how they interfere with your life. See how they worry you. See what they awaken in you. What fears, what insecurities, and make a list, because this is what you're going to have to work on. This is what you will have to learn to understand and build a different way so that your life can allow you to overcome those limiting circumstances that manifest through your subconscious and that interfere with your daily life. So, I hope you guys have learned something, because I learned a lot and I wish to share this with you. So, have a great day. A big kiss of light and a big hug of light. And God bless you all. See you next time. Bye-bye.